Hey, this is indeed Walt from the Comic Book Men, and you're listening to the iWalter Show.
Walter!
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird brain, it's a plane, it's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
It's Walter. Hey, it's iWalter, or I should just say Walter. Yes, I always say this every single night. I'm not going to do another show, the following night, but I end up doing one anyhow. So tonight I had a motivation to do a show simply because, I got this movie in the mail, and I actually really liked it. And by the way, yeah, that soundbite that I made, thanks to my friend the other night we went out. I just love that, I guess. This girl is so freaking drunk, she's screaming my name. She was just like, I'm surprised she didn't fall off the freaking bar stool because that's how drunk she was. So I think my friend will laugh every time if he listens to my show, if he hears it. I'm not going to do it a lot, but, hey, I've been milking that thing from doing that interview with, God, I can't remember now. Sorry about that. Walt Flanagan and Mike from the Comic Book Men. Yeah, I've been really milking that thing every possible chance I can. So, yeah, you know what? I got to check that up now, too. God, wanted to make this, really was going to make this short tonight. I'm just putting, because I can't remember these guys' names. Yep, it was Mike Zapsik. So I like milk that for the last, since my birthday. That was in February. What is that? February, March, April, May. Yeah, like 4 months of milking those guys for doing a plug for me. I guess it gets kind of old, but it just sounds better than the one I bought. I bought one for I think it was like $50, $70. That I don't even use it anymore anyway. So anyway, folks, yeah, I was watching this movie tonight. I was like, yeah, you know what? I got to do a podcast just on this. Excuse me, I'm going to burp. Burp. Oh, excuse me, that one slipped out. God, I'm getting my mice confused. I got my recording, thing up. You know what? Actually, it reminds me. I'm going to just do this right now. Oh, God, I get a kick out of this girl, woman, whatever. She was hilarious. Anyway, the film that I got in the mail today, and I really needed to watch this because I want to actually talk about a little bit, because I only played a little half an hour of it. Well, that's how far I got in the game. Was this game called Doom 4. It's just called Doom, though, but it's actually Doom 4. But before that, the movie I got in the mail today was called Island of the Fishmen. Now, it was some, I don't know where I found it. Maybe it was online. Somebody put up, because I got all these B horror movie fanzine things I got on Facebook. And this one, it was I looked at the pictures and was like, oh, shit. I really cut deep with the knife. I didn't even realize I did that. I used a blade to cut open the box, or the package was in, I guess, an envelope. And I actually put the knife all the way through to the box. Crap. I didn't realize I did that, so it slit the package in as well. It's a shame. Wow, I didn't even know I cut that deep. Anyway, it's just copies of the film anyway. You can't really buy this film anymore, per se. Now, it was actually, they re-released the film, I guess, for some reason. It was an Italian film, I think, because I looked it up. I thought it was Spanish, but... So there you go. I mean, I always say I like a lot of these Spanish films because there are really good, but this one was actually, basically was an Italian film, so I got to tip my hat on that. It was actually released January 18th, 1979 in Italy, and it says, for some reason, in the U.S. it was the 26th of June, 1981. So there was a couple of years in between. It says the language was Italian, English. The copy I got is actually, if it's dub overs, it's really good because I try to look at their lips and they matched up really well. So I don't know if they reshot in English or what was going on there. It was just a good dub voiceover because it matched up pretty well, good as far as what I could see watching this film. Anyway, I think the director's name, I'm going to see if I can get this right, Sergio Martino. Did I say that right? I'm not sure. Anyway, it's not like, your top-notch film, but it is actually really good. I would, if you like those kind of B horror movies, because I'm looking at it right now, because I just watched it just now. But if you like, it has a little bit of combination. At first, it was a little misleading because you look at the poster, and it's definitely very, very misleading. Because it kind of reminded me of Humanoids from the Deep on one of the covers they put on there. And again, that doesn't really do the film justice. And they put, the girl was hot in the movie, by the way. There's some young hot girl in there. Barbara Bach. I don't know who she exactly is. She was really hot, though. And, but they made it more, making her look real sexy with these sea monsters who are trying to attack her. These, fish, half human. And this, the way they try to advertise, it kind of just shot down the film because it kind of reminded me of a little bit of, I'm trying to think, 2,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I mean, the costumes were kind of cheesy, obviously, for the Fishmen. But the whole premise behind the film, I definitely really liked that. The film was a little bit boring, too. But it had a combination of, it kind of reminded me a little bit of like that. It also reminded me of a typical exploitation film, without a doubt. But, take that aside, it had a little bit of that feel, again, of 2,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And they found, the premise of the film was this guy finds the lost city of Atlantis, and it's too deep for him to actually dive and get into the treasures because the whole city is still intact. It's just submerged under way too much water for him to reach it. No human can. So he finds this doctor who was experimenting on animals and people, and he's kidnapped this doctor and his daughter to help him create basically these amphibious men, or, fishmen, because the name of the movie is called Island of the Fishmen, to help get these treasures, because otherwise he wouldn't be able to get, get these treasures, gold and all of this other stuff that was left behind from this lost civilization of Atlantis. So that part was really cool, and there's some scenery in there. It's actually pretty cool. Even these little miniature scale models they use, they look really nice. Because a film like that, Atlantis and stuff, you're not going to build a whole city under the water. It's going to make a little model, like Doctor Who. If you like those kind of models they used on the original series of Doctor Who, it kind of reminds you of that. They also kind of incorporated, it did remind me again of those kind of, on that line again of 2,000 Leagues Under the Sea, or is it 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea? I can't remember. But that premise, or Journey to the Center of the Earth, that kind of film work was almost incorporated in this film because it also had in there, this doctor actually had some tribes that were, I'm trying to think of the right word, that practice voodoo to help this man who was, the bad guy. The doctor was bad, too, this one particular doctor who was making people in the Fishmen just for, because he wanted to prove that he could do it. He was like, oh, well, people eventually won't be able to survive. The whole premise of that, by the way, was that people came from the sea, using that whole concept that, we basically came, well, originally from primal slime, and from the slime we evolved into, fish, and then from the fish we crawled out of the sea, so to speak. So this one doctor in this movie was trying to tap into the reach that you can actually reverse the process of evolution, if you believe in that, and change people back into some type of fish, but keep the human, the human aspect of them. But we would be able to survive if something ever happened to the surface of the earth. That was his whole doctor's premise. But this man who was just in there for greed and wanted to get I'm trying to look for the characters' names, because I never do a good job explaining anything. Let's see. So I'm looking at it again. Bottom line, it's a cheesy film, yes. Is it interesting? Definitely. It's definitely got a lot of depth to it. It says running time 100 minutes. So what is that? It's 120 minutes is 2 hours. I thought it was pretty long, so that's over 2 hours, I think. Or no, it's close to 2 hours. It's 20 minutes shy of 2 hours. Because I thought in some parts the movie was a little long-winded. But overall, I thought it was really cool in the same sense of the word. Again, I apologize. Because there's different characters, and it just would take too long to explain them all. I would just say, just look for a film called Island of the Fishmen. It is next to impossible to get. But at one point, they said, I guess when it released in the U.S., they changed the name. They might have changed a little bit of the premise. I'm not sure. So the copy I got, where I got these, which I didn't realize, I kind of figured it would be this, ripped copies, was because this one particular one it's a double disc. They're DVD-Rs. They didn't do a very good job of cleaning up the DVRs, but the quality of the first one looked really good. They actually do say that. The quality of the first one is really good. The second one's not going to be as spectacular. But I wanted to actually, that's another thing, I wanted to get the original movie called Island of the Fishmen, because they actually can buy it on Blu-ray, this movie, but it's under a different title, and they changed the name, which I don't understand it, to Screamers. So why they did that, I have no clue. There's got to be a thing behind it, because if you see Screamers, or say a.k.a. Island of the Fishmen, but this particular one, they actually have both copies on there, whatever was changed. I'm trying to look at it. Yeah, I'm looking. It says the original European version and the U.S. alternative version. So, yeah, they did slightly change the one that was released in the U.S. That's why they also changed the name, I assume, as well. Obviously, it wasn't called if it was an Italian film. It's not going to be called Island of the Fishmen. It was called something in Italian, which I am technically Italian, but I don't know how to read Italian. I don't even know how to speak Italian. Again, I thought the film is really good. I'm going to probably try to watch the other one, and I'll get back, maybe, possibly, if I do watch it, and let people know if there's any spectacular difference or not. Yeah, Barbara Bach played Amanda Marvin or something like that. It was supposed to be the daughter of this doctor. Claudio? I can't pronounce his last name. And I'm Italian. I can't pronounce these names. L.L. Claude D. Ross. Richard Johnson, he plays the bad guy, I think. Edwin Rackman. Joseph Cotton, Professor Ernest Melvin. He's the guy who changes people, reverses humans into fish, so to speak, or fish men. And there's this actress who plays one of the natives named Burl Cunningham or something, and she plays this character. That's the only one I can actually pronounce her character name. I can't pronounce her real name. But her character name was Shakira, because they said Shakira, so I was like, wow. Because I keep on thinking of that Spanish. She was actually really attractive, too. But, yeah, she plays kind of almost like a witch doctor kind of thing. But, Yeah, she was. Oh, actually, wow. For some reason, I was talking about Doctor Who, but when I was trying to pull up pictures of that actress, some reason Stones of Blood from Doctor Who popped up. I don't know if she was actually. I don't remember her being in Doctor Who. I mean, it could be a possibility, though. Anyway, I thought it was a pretty interesting film. It was kind of a little bit boring, but it was actually for that type of film, it was, almost like a B movie. It was actually really good, and for that perspective. But also, I think the reason I wanted to talk about this is because, pardon me for a minute, is because it did remind me a little bit of Doctor Who with the little models and even the costumes, because it kind of reminded me, believe it or not, that maybe Doctor Who, the people who created, certain episodes of Doctor Who might have been probably even influenced by this film, is my guess. And the reason I say that, because they had a premise on Doctor Who with these creatures called Silurians. They brought those back, but I'm talking about the ones with John Pertwee. And what else was there? There was Silurians and the Sea Devils. So that premise, who knows? Maybe these people back... Well, actually, wait a minute, because now I got to check back, and I'll have to maybe take this back. I don't know if it would be the other way around. It could be, though, because I'm trying to think. Silurians and the other ones actually on Doctor Who, that originally came out, those ideas, back from somewhere. Well, John Pertwee was on from 1970 to 1974. Yeah, that's right. He was on for 5 years. So let me see when this movie came out. So the Island of the Fishmen actually came out in 1979. It says an hour and 40 minutes, so I was right on that little piece of tidbit information, whatever you want to call it. But I could have been wrong. Maybe the Italian director, might have been influenced by Doctor Who, because what came first, the Doctor Who or the Fishmen? Well, Doctor Who did, so on those particular episodes. So I apologize about that. But it had the same feel, at least. It had that feel of Doctor Who. And yes, it is a B horror movie, so, don't expect a lot. I'm just kind of curious what he did, this director, because Sergio Martino, it looks like. Movies. Now, this one I've heard of, Torso or something, Blade of Ripper, All the Killers of the Dark. Your Vice is a Locked Room, and something else. The Mountain of the Cave. I'm going to say Cave Woman or something. Let me see what it says. Oh, no. The Mountain of the Cannibal God. So he's had some... I don't know how good his other films are, but I'll definitely... Because it says view 35 more. So it was definitely... If these films are all from 35 films, he made that many movies, yeah, he definitely did. Would be considered, yeah, he actually did, looks like 35 movies. Born July 19th, 1938, this director, age 77, from Rome, Italy. So he was definitely a filmmaker of the exploitation films. But again, for some reason, somebody popped that up online, and I saw it. I was like, wow, this is actually not that bad. He's made some, probably looks like some real stinkers. That movie was kind of, I would call The Island of Fishmen almost like a sleeper movie, because it is a little campy in one perspective, but in another one, it's actually got some interesting ideas for as far as to what the film had involved in it. So, I don't know. I just kind of liked it, so I just wanted to do a quick podcast on that. So, Barbara Bach. I wonder if she played anything else besides his movies, because she actually almost looks familiar. I'm going to see, because I was going to think, hey, did she ever play? Did she ever play like a Bond girl or something? Because she kind of looked like she would. Yep, here we go. Barbara Brock. I was right, ladies and gentlemen. James Bond wiki. So she did play a Bond girl. I knew she looked so familiar. So which one? I'm not sure because it says James Bond. I knew I was right on. Yep, here we go. So Barbara Brock, who played in a lot of the films from Sergio, actually did play a Bond girl. So I was right about that, and I was just guessing that one. But she did look like really familiar. Barbara Brock was born in American. She was an American actress known for the Bond girl Russian spy Anna. Agent Triple X is basically what she was. The Spy Who Loved Me. So, yeah, she is, like I told you, she's really, really hot back in the day. But she did look like a Bond girl. It's kind of amazing that, it was with Roger Moore. It has a picture of her with Ringo Starr, which I don't know what's going on there. I guess she married him or something. But I assume at one point in time. But, yeah, she played in the one with, what do you call it? God, I can't remember his name. Because he got his name changed to Sir Roger Moore. I think it's Sir Roger Moore, if I remember correctly. So, I mean, that alone just kind of makes it worth it. It's kind of funny, though, because I always thought, like, Bond girls, well, at least when you play a Bond girl, she was born in on August 27th, 1947. But yeah, she was in. Wow, she's got some really hot pictures too. She was in this movie again called Island of the Fishmen. I thought it was really good. She played in a lot of Sergio's movies, believe it or not, and then somehow she became a Bond girl. So, which is really different. I mean, the ones with Roger Moore were named after the stories that were written on. I'm trying to think of the right word. That were written, from the Bond storylines. At least the titles were from the. I'm not sure how close they were to the actual stories written. So that's a whole different story. Thing I can go into, because I can't remember who wrote James Bond. So I can find that real quick. Now, that's something I should know, but I don't. Okay, yeah, Ian Fleming. So, yeah, I mean, the Roger Moore ones, that's what I want to say. Roger Moore stories were actually, like, believe it or not, as obscene as it seemed, Ian Fleming did write a story of, I'm trying to think. He did write a story of, a James Bond story that was actually called, no joke, that was called Octopussy. So that's all I'm saying. Like, most of those stories, like a lot of the newer ones, Casino Royale, the original one, was named after a story by Ian Fleming, and then, of course, they made it into the newer one. I'm trying to think what else. Octopussy, like I said, I thought that was like, okay, they're just trying to be, extreme on naming a title for a James Bond movie. And it was like, no, actually they didn't. That was one of the stories that Ian Fleming actually did write and named the same thing, which was Octopussy. So anyway, now I'm really just going off in a different direction. I do want to make this kind of like simple and not too complicated tonight. But yeah, I was, like I said, Sergio Martino, I think that's the way you say his name. Doesn't sound like I'm saying it the right way, like as far as being Italian way of saying it. But yeah, what was I going to mention? But yeah, I might have seen it on Facebook or something. Somebody might have put up like, oh, here's a movie. I never heard of it because I like the, personally, I like to find new films when I can. Excuse me. And I saw that one. Somebody mentioned about it, and it was like Island of the Fishmen. It was like, okay, yeah, this is something actually I want to check out because I mentioned this a couple shows before. It's just I kind of grew up with, watching these B horror movies, and then I really got into them as I've gotten older. I've actually, wanted to track down movies that I didn't know existed, and when I do, most of the time they're actually, they turn out to be actually pretty cool. I mean, you're not talking like top-notch movies, trust me. They're far from being that, but this one actually is like you kind of almost got to scratch your head on because it's actually not that bad. It's just kind of low budget, and I mean, you're talking to a person though who did grow up watching, shows like Doctor Who and stuff. So, it's no surprise. It doesn't disappoint me watching one called Island of the Fishmen. So, anyway, I don't know. I don't want to, or already actually have beat that story to death, but I just had a, was like, wow, this is pretty cool. So I end up going in a different direction with that. You want to check out director Sergio Martino, if I'm saying it correctly once again. And, you're probably being for a little bit of a shock because you see this movie again called Island of the Fishmen, and then you expect one thing, but then it ends up being, well, this is kind of like a little bit, they kind of cut their own throat by, making it look like a real cheesy exploitation film, which it's not that, it's not one of these bottom the barrel movies of being exploitation. So anyway, oh yeah, I was going to mention too. I'm going to just kind of glance through some stories. So, well, at least I'll get a half an hour out tonight. It will be a short show for me. I'm going to try to get it to at least an hour if I can. Try to. I'm not saying I'm going to do it. But last night I bought it when it first came out. I got to figure out when Doom 4 came out now. But I opened the box last night for the PS4. Well, actually, I opened it when I first got it. I just never played it. Let's see when it came out. Because the new one, Doom 4, is actually, it's just called Doom again, but it says release date. Actually, it came out May 13th, so it came out on Friday the 13th. And what is today's date? It's the 24th. And I bought it, got it like that same day. Wow, it was like 2 weeks ago. It came, well, actually going on 3 weeks. It's about 2 weeks ago it came out. So I bought the film, and you think most people are like, oh, you're gonna play the game right away. I really didn't have the time because when the game came to the house, I was actually, believe it or not, I was down in Blairstown, of course, on Friday the 13th. So I couldn't play the game. And then when I got home, it was like, okay, I just want to do some show, do some broadcasting more, a little bit on what I had experienced. I think I did a show down there. I tried to do one or two. I was only down there for 2 days anyhow. So I got back and was like, yeah, I kind of would like to, play this game, but I never got around to it. Lo and behold, 2 weeks had gone by, and I still never really cracked the game open. I cracked the box open. I took it out of the box. I looked at like what was inside for Doom 4, but I never played it. And I guess part of it was, honestly, I just was probably expecting it to be not that great because I did, honestly, I did download, because you could get it for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and what was the other thing? Oh, the PC. The game, and every Doom game that came out in the last 10 years, I would say, I did get them all. And other id software, like the id game, I'm trying to think right now, Quake and stuff. Because I started out actually playing Quake, maybe that's actually over 10 years ago then. If you include Quake, I'm going to figure out when Quake actually came out then. Because I know it came out, let's see. 1996. Wow. And that game, a friend of mine, he influenced me. It was when I had AOL years ago. God, I got to figure out how many years ago that was now. My friend Trevor, he saw the game and he said, we saw it online for AOL. It's like, hey, download the game, try it out. So it was on dial-up. And we downloaded the game. It scared the crap out of me. I ended up buying. I think you only got the demo, and I got so addicted to the game Quake that and it scared me. It really did scare me. So let's see, 2016 minus 1996. Wow, that's a long time ago. Wow, that was 20 years ago. That's hard to believe. My friend Trevor told me about this. I used to hang out. My friend Trevor actually was the one who first introduced me to computers and computer games, because I think he had like a Commodore 64, and then he had what else did he have? He had a PC, and I was like, dude, this is so cool. He never had taken the computers as far as I did, but he actually did start me out on, kind of show me the ropes of how a computer is and what you can do with computers. He was the one who introduced me to Windows 3.1, Windows 3.0, and I think he even told me about Windows 2.0. Because I remember I told him a couple years ago when I saw him, because I haven't talked to him in years now. I said, Trevor, you're the one who actually introduced me to all these, the whole thing about computers and stuff. He says, no, you know more than I do. I was like, no, actually, you're the one who taught me everything. You're the one who actually got my feet wet on playing video games on computers and just how computers work and what you can do with computers. But you're talking like way before 95. The only thing that was out there was DOS, which he knew about, if I remember correctly. DOS, my friend Trevor, and Windows 3.0, I think. It was 3.0, 3.1, and 3.11. So 3.11 was supposed to be the business version of Windows. I mean, but yeah, that was 20 years ago now. I first got introduced to the use of a computer. But Doom was one of the games, like Doom and Quake. Like, I think he knew about Doom before I did. Obviously, my friend Trevor. But he also introduced me to Doom. And I tell you, like I said, that game, that's what got me addicted to video games, was id Software's Quake. And I played everything after that, literally. I loved all those Quake games. The last one, actually, I never got through. But it all started with my friend Trevor on games. And that was back in 1996. So anyway, Doom 4 came out. Like I said, the last Quake I just really did not like that much at all. I could never finish it. I just kind of lost interest in the game. I didn't think it was that great. And then id Software did some other, trying to start a new franchise of a video game, something completely different from Quake and Doom, because basically Quake and Doom were pretty much the same type of game. They were both games that dealt with demonic symbols and Satanism and stuff like that. That was a whole gist and appeal to the games too, even the original ones. That the fact that games had something demonic about that. And that was another thing. The last game, I guess, of Doom kind of went in a different direction slightly. And now they got back on, I guess, this new one, Doom 4, they got like people that are basically, they had people developing the game help out that were diehard fans of id Software. And what these people did, these are fans this time, and they want these fans went back to the origins of what made id Software such a popular system, which would include I'm trying to think right now, that whole thing about the whole gist of the one character, I can't remember his name, that was kind of appears in all the games. They brought back that character and kind of modernized him, but they brought back that whole origins of how everything started on Mars, and they open up the gates of hell on Mars on the game. But they added a lot of fucking action. I'll say that much. It was the game starts out from the moment you put the disc in, because I have the, what do you call it? I have the PlayStation 4. That's what I wanted to say. Yeah, what is it? From the get-go, what was I going to say? They basically, it starts with action. Like, once you put the disc in, and I tried to get it for the PC, and I couldn't play it on my laptop. It's just not powerful enough to play it on the laptop, even at the lowest resolution and everything like that. And honestly, what I could gather, there is actually no difference between the one this time, because the way they make things for PC now is really not much different than... Oh, wait. The game is basically... It used to be that games that were put on consoles were ported from the PC, and they didn't work very well. Now they're kind of doing it the other way around. They're making the games first for the console, and then they basically port it back to... what do you call it? To the... God, I'm drawing a blank right now. To the PC. So it's kind of taken a reverse step. Instead of going from PC to console, now everything's being made strictly first for the console and then for the PC, which is kind of interesting how they changed that whole thing. So, bottom line is, the consoles are actually very powerful too. They're not as powerful as you can make a game machine out of a PC, but sometimes, the only thing I miss, though, honestly, I played all those games of Quake and Doom. Personally, I played them all on my keyboard, and I'm a keyboard person. Now, other people say they play better on a joystick. I'm having a really, really hard time doing that right now. Eventually, I think I could probably figure it out, but as far as it goes now, I'm just having a difficult time, getting that to be the case. So, I don't know, that's my downfall. But as far as the actual game itself, literally, I think it was yesterday, I was like, okay, I got to finally put this in, slap this in, and try to play this game. So I did, and it was like, from the second the game starts, you have some type of demons trying to kill you. Like, the very first second, though, it was like, wow, they really don't waste any time. And that was like before the credits start. So you got to fight your way out of getting killed from the second the game turns on. Like, you're put on a slab table where demons are trying to kill you. And it just does not stop. You got to basically fight your way out of a bunch of demons trying to eat you. So, or kill you, or rip you apart. So it was like, wow, they really don't waste any time. I mean, the music's really good. That was another thing I got to look up, honestly. I was going to do this, so I haven't done it yet. So I'm going to do that now. Let's see. Music for Doom 4. Music. Because I remember when Quake first came out, Trent Reznor actually made the music for Quake when they first developed Quake, and he was willing to do it because he was a big fan of the id Software from back in the day. Let's see, Doom 4. Because I'm just wondering, because it sounds like it would be something Trent Reznor would do again for Doom 4. It says that the music for Doom 4 was composed by Mick Gordon with additional contributions by Richard Devine. Gordon aimed to treat the game's original soundtrack with an utmost respect, while at the same time modernizing it. He used 7 and 8 string guitars to give the music a low tone, as well as a 9-string guitar for the game's main theme, a variation of Bobby Prince's E1M1 theme. So I guess I was wrong on that one, but they're saying that it was not him, and it is actually, technically, it is Doom 4, so I thought I could have swore it sounded like a lot like Trent Reznor. The music is actually really good in the game, by the way. That keeps your adrenaline like really pumping when you're trying to play the game. I'm just kind of shocked that Trent Reznor did do it because because if you heard like certain music, you would think it was from him. I kind of said, it'd be spoilers. I watched the credits and they said there's spoilers in the credits. If you watch it, you could ruin it, for playing the game. And it was like, I don't really care. Now, here's the interesting thing, by the way, with Doom. I did put it on, like, don't hurt me level. That's, like, the simplest level you can play. And it actually started out really easy because I kind of liked it. I want to enjoy the game. I don't want to be stressed out. I mean, I'm stressed out with everything in my life. The last thing I want is to be stressed out with my video games. When I do play them, and I don't play that many games. Again, I wish I can't wait because I think eventually the game will come out for the Mac, and I have more than enough horsepower. They just got to kind of change it because a lot of people who have Macs, the power underneath the hood of a Mac is not quite as strong as you will get with a PC because the upgrades are not as many, and they're probably not as strong when they do come out. So that's probably why they're going to have to make the game a little bit different for the Mac, is my assumption, because they got to work with hardware is being offered for the Mac. And generally, I always go one step above because I'm able to find. I'm trying to think. Find software that's been modded that will work on my computer. Like, my computer's upgradable with graphics cards and everything. And that was another thing. Mac stopped doing that. They make you use only specific graphics cards or whatever. But if you have one that's more powerful, it's going to be that much better with whatever comes out for the Mac, basically. So, that won't be a problem. I mean, that's the one thing that's nice about Mac, too. They can't pull that stunt of, like, forcing you to buy the most expensive graphics card on the market to play, id Software's new game. That's not going to happen because, again, Mac basically dictates on what's going in their machines because they basically develop their own machines from the ground up. Now, that being said, the older ones, because I refuse to buy a newer one at this point, a newer Mac, because one, I don't want to spend $10,000 just on a computer to get it running properly. Two, the older Macs, again, there's people out there that will actually mod the firmware on, reflash the BIOS even on the graphics card, and make it that it will be able to work, new video cards, like brand new ones that are being placed out within the last year or less. Like, for instance, an NVIDIA graphics card, they mod them to work on the older Macs. So the last Mac put it, that Apple put it out, which I call them the cheese grater ones, was in 2011. The cheese graters were the server computers, which Apple decided we're not going to make those anymore, which in my opinion was very, very stupid, because those were, fortunately, they were very upgradable, more so than people even can imagine, and now they're actually fairly cheap, especially for a Mac. But they stopped making them because those you actually could upgrade. But now, Apple got what they wanted. Like, you can't upgrade the computers unless it's something that Apple approves of, so to speak. So maybe that's why they did it. I have no clue. I just don't think it was a very, good idea. It was maybe smart on their end, but not smart on my end. So anyway, getting back to the Doom game, though, it was kind of a shock because I played the demo. I think I mentioned earlier. I played a demo of Doom, and it's a multiplayer. Now, I liked it. I actually really, really liked the Doom demo. You have to play as a multiplayer demo. But would I, need to buy a subscription? Because you have to apparently buy like a year subscription to play the game. It goes by a year, and it's like another $40-$50 in addition to buying the game. Otherwise, you can't play the game at all online unless you buy this subscription. I'm not going to do that because I personally just like playing the game, by myself. I don't like to play it with other people. I'd rather play, AI, artificial intelligence. I don't find the need to play live people, because it just for me, I'm not that good, and I have more fun just playing the AI. I don't have to, and that way you're not pissing anybody off or anything like that, or that people are cheating, which normally you can't do, because usually if you get caught cheating, they will block you for the rest of the life of that game. So I just don't want to get involved with all that crap, so I'd rather just play AI. Now, the multiplayer part of the game was really cool in one perspective, because it reminded me of the old school, because these people are die-hard id fans, of the company. And that being said, the multiplayer game reminded me of the game called Quake 3 Arena. It was almost like it, but it was modernized version of Quake 3 Arena. So you got you got all these die-hard id fans that actually were able to put their hands into making a brand new game from id Software, but you got the best of Quake and Doom in one game. And the only problem is it costs you an arm and a leg if you want to get the whole scenery and not just the one. So that being said, I really liked it, but there was other people who did not particularly. They weren't fond of that demo. A lot of people just thought it completely sucked. They didn't like it at all. It was I actually enjoyed it. I had some fun. I had a blast with it because it did remind me of Quake 3 Arena, so I had no problem with that. I'm just posting some stuff. I don't know if I'll read it tonight. I want to keep it down to a minimum because of the time constraints too. But when I actually dug into the game, I think it was Sunday night or something. It was wow, I'll be up until 6 in the morning if I don't stop. That's how good it was. Now, again, like I said, the easy level was easy, but it does, I guess, progressively get hard. If you're too good for the game and they kind of realize it, they're going to say you're still on the easy level, but you're really not. It gets kind of a little bit more intense, and that's what happened to me. There were some improvements, I think, on Doom 4 that weren't in Doom 3. Now, one difference I will say that's probably for the better, because Doom 4 is much more violent than Doom 3, but it's less scary, if that makes any sense. You say, well, it's more violent. Yeah, it is, actually, because what you got to do is you're the only human that I've seen so far in the game, and everybody else are demons, or they are, either people turned into demon, turned into the zombies, which would be from Quake, because Quake had zombies, even though it is a Doom game. But Quake and Doom were pretty much the same thing. And then you have these imps, they call them, and stuff. Well, they modernized the imps too, in a very cool way, to say the least. So yeah, but they don't look disturbingly that they're going to give me. Because when I played Quake, and I actually played Doom 3, those games scared the shit out of me. There's no other way to put it. Those games really bothered me. I mean, they gave me nightmares, those games. But the new one, Doom 4, they were to kind of okay, we're going to make this look really badass. We're going to put a lot of in there too. A lot of satanic emblems, a lot about Satanism and stuff like that. But at the same time, we're not going to make it that you're going to be shitting your pants playing the game. We're going to make it fun, and we're going to give it a lot of fucking action. So they kind of combined all that, and they made this game called Doom, but it's actually Doom 4. So putting that into perspective, that part was really cool. But the reason I say it's really violent, though, is that you got to think fast. That's one thing. That's another thing. You got to think so fast. You really can't tell what you're killing, because if you think for more than the split second, even on the easy level, it's funny. I'm looking at, they actually have the name of the engine for the new Doom game, which is called id Tech 6 is the name of the new engine. Now that engine will last them a long time, because they're just sell the id Tech 6 engine off for the game for other games to be developed. That's normally what they do, and they make bundles off of that. They will make bundles off of it, like they always do. But yeah, what was I going to say? Oh, dude, that's disgusting. I'll have to send that to a friend. That one, that guy from Pink Flamingos, that drag queen guy, the heavyset guy, he's actually eaten shit from a dog that just shit him, like the dog shit on the corner, and he's eating it. So it says Pink Flamingos underneath. I'll send it to my friend Todd. Or think it's funny. Inside joke there, by the way, folks. With that movie, I mean. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, the Doom game, though, like I said, I guess if you even like stop to look at the violence, it's bad, but it's not disturbingly bad. And plus, you got to think on your feet all the time so quickly, you're not even knowing what you're doing. So I basically, you gotta kill the demons, and you get their life. Basically, that's how you build up your life, if your health level. So that's kind of weird. But here's the thing: not only do you shoot at them, because sometimes shooting is not enough. So you got to basically rip their skulls apart. I'm not even kidding. So, but you're not even noticing it, because you got them coming at you so fast. You don't even know what you're doing, because you've seen the screenshots and it was like, wow, this is pretty disturbing, the game. But when you're actually playing a game, you don't have, you have less than a split second to kind of look on what you're doing. And it was like, wait a minute, you got to rip skulls open, and then you basically take their life forces, and it's like, well, they're just demons. It's not that big of a deal. So, but it didn't it's not disturbing. Like I said, Quake 3 really kind of gave me nightmares. Quake 4 does not do the same thing. And plus the music's just really, what else can I say? It's badass. So that being said, it just makes it not that scary. It just makes it a fun game to play. It does get really hard. And by the way, there is multiple levels. And as I said, the simple level, if you go through it too quickly, it starts to catch wind that, hey, wait a minute, you're a little bit better than your leading on, and it gets real hard, even on the easy level. Well, here, get this. There's levels that are 5 times higher than this, don't hurt me level. I mean, these are a lot harder. I mean, they're impossible, supposedly. I think the highest level is beyond Nightmare. Nightmare level is supposed to be, you're so fucking good, you probably won't even last less than 5 seconds on Nightmare. But I think there's a level, I'll have to look these up now for the Doom levels, but I think there's probably one above, oh my god, this is Nightmare level. Let me see. I'll look for those right now if I can. Let's see. I'm putting Doom levels. Bloody new Doom will send screaming back to hell. But they modernized the main guy in the film, because he only showed up. The main character in Doom actually shows up, I think, in Quake 3 Arena. You can play that character. But the original guy, they revamped him, and they kind of went with the original storyline. Excuse me. I probably should have put in different playing levels. So let me try that. Let me try different playing levels. Different playing levels for Doom 4. So I think they did a really good job with the game. Skill levels, Wikipedia. Okay, yeah. Here they are. There's actually 5 different levels for Doom. Well, these are the same levels though they put in the new game though. It says Doom 2, and Final Doom, but they put the same levels in. I'm pretty sure. I'm Too Young to Die, Hey, Not Too Rough, Hurt Me Plenty, Ultra Violence, and Nightmare. And they're going through all the other games. Doom 64. I think they went with the original names, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I got to put my age now. Not for the young at heart, I guess. Or faint at heart, I guess. I don't know. I guess it says progression. I guess it does get progressively hard. So you can't cheat on the game like I try to. It does get hard no matter what. But it's definitely entertaining. I don't even know if I'll make it to the end of the game because I'm going to figure out cheat codes eventually. That's the one thing I did like about the PC games because I could eventually put in cheat codes. That's how I finished most of the Doom games because they got really, really, really difficult. So I'm trying to look. Well, here it says Doom 2016. That's Doom 4. See if they give the levels out. I just don't feel like starting up the game. Plot. Reboot has been stated to the original origins. Yeah, it actually does say that there. It says the plot is the reboot has been stated to be the original story. The game is set on Mars, with the UAC facility being invaded by forces of hell. So, yeah, I said all that, I think, already. It says modes, game modes is multiplayer, playable demos, power up, maps, weapons. They don't give the levels, though. Levels. Oh, late. I actually got stuck outside of Mars right away. Classic levels. Yeah, it's supposed to have the classic game, some parts of there. I was just wondering if they give, like, the levels you can play, skill levels. I might have to actually put in, for that one, for Doom, like, because I don't see it here either. That's kind of weird, why they won't tell you which ones they are. Bottom line is, I thought the game was really good. I might just try one more way of doing this. Let's put in, let me move my mic down. What are the skill levels for Doom 4? See if that works. Skill level. It says, hey, not too rough. Hurt Me Plenty, Ultra Violence, and Nightmare. So that should be the skill levels. Well, then it goes back to, but that's the original ones. They said they did go back. It looks a lot better, though, but the original origins for the names of the levels. So maybe that is right. Yeah, but I picked the easiest level, and honestly, it just started getting really hard right away. After a while, I guess. Not right away. But I'm not going to give up. And honestly, I did try to get the new Castle Wolfenstein, and I got so far with that, and I kind of gave up on that. But personally, I think, usually I used to like Castle Wolfenstein too, but I think Doom's actually a lot better. Wolfenstein also had its satanic backdrop in there too, but I think the new Doom, they really did. They weren't just kidding you. They really did go back to the origins of the original game. Of course, it never looked that good. And And yeah, so certain characters that were in the original game, they really make them look pretty sharp. Because when I first saw like some screenshots of Doom 4, it kind of looked like, okay, just revamping Doom 3. There's not really that much of a significant difference. Minus they added more blood and guts and violence. But no, it actually is, its own game, but it's old school with really good graphics and definitely excellent music and other stuff. It's funny, like, because there's parts that kind of upset me in the original, Doom 3, where you had to go on, on the planet of Mars, like outside your facilities or whatever. And like you only had so long to do it because you'd run out of oxygen. Well, for some reason, which I'm glad they did it, because I'm playing the easiest level too. But they decided to get rid of that. Like, okay, you can stay, since you're going to be out for a long time. Of course, again, I picked the simplest level. We're taking that away. Don't worry about it. If you're going to be out for like a long time trying to fight these demons off, because we're giving you a lot, no sweat. Because, you're not going to run out of oxygen. So you could basically run out of, what do you call it, lifespan, unless then you have to kill more demons to replenish that. But you won't run out of oxygen. So that was kind of good, because that was actually in Doom 3 that was very frustrating, to say the least. I was not too happy with that. So... like I was going to say, I guess, yes, Doom 4 is definitely something, I would say it's worth investment. I know all these games I bought more than once. I think more so because I liked especially Quake 1, Quake 2, and Quake 3. Quake 4, I think I just kind of lost interest in. And then, I'm trying to think of it. Like Doom, it was like, I think I really got into Doom 3. I thought that was really good. I think Doom 4 is actually even better yet. Because Doom 3, their whole thing was to make it as scary as possible. Like, how far can we push you to make you shit your pants? Kind of scary. And, this time they wanted to make it fun and entertaining, but not scare the crap out of you. So that I was really, really happy to see that. So you know what? Check out Doom 4. That's all I can say. Actually did get over an hour of surprise. Now for a couple of stories I'm going to look through them. I said I didn't actually put anything up, and it's 4:30 now. So, funny story. It's not funny, but I'm just saying it's a funny story from the Dreamin' Demon. They dug up this story, no puns intended. Woman who, now this is for these people that are vegans that don't eat meat, and this girl was trying to prove something like, well, look, vegans aren't weak people and stuff, so I'm going to prove it. I'm going to climb Mount Everest. So this woman does. Let me go back to the story because I just looked at something else real quick. And this is what makes it entertaining. It says, woman who climbed Mount Everest again to prove vegans aren't weak died on Mount Everest, the Dreamin' Demon. A woman from Australia who said she was climbing Mount Everest to prove that vegans can do anything died on the mountain on Saturday after developing altitude sickness. Maria, it looks like syndrome. It does look like, or Stryham, 34, was a finance lecturer at Monash University, living on a vegan... Let's see. Vegan diet. She posted on the university blog that she and her husband were climbing Mount Everest to prove a point. Well, she ended up dying. So, because I already kind of screwed up a little bit of that story. That's why I don't want to read anymore. So, so that was pretty entertaining to say the least on my stories. Let's see. That might be like, oh, well, here's one I had up. I forgot. I post certain stories on my Facebook page just to, if they catch my attention. So there was one from Christopher Morbid Lee. Once again, woman dies from serious internal injuries while riding Sundance zip line attraction. 55-year-old woman died from blunt force trauma injuries she suffered while taking part in the Sundance Mountain Resort Zip Tour. I'm trying to see what else it says. I don't like certain amusement rides, if that's what it is. I gather that's what it is. You can find that on Dream and Demon. I don't know where they got it from. So, again, I just don't like some types of rides. It do bother me. There was some really weird thing I found, and it was from the Daily UK Mail. I didn't read any of this stuff tonight or this morning. Daily Mail, Secret Life of the Human Pups. These are people who wear like these bondage costumes, but they're bondage costumes, literally bondage costumes of pups, dogs. Weird world of the grown men who enjoy dressing up as dogs in role-play craze sweeping the nation. Around 10,000 people in the UK enjoy the pet play craze. Men tend to prefer dressing as dogs, while women identify more as kittens. Well, the women I wouldn't mind. Channel 4 met and filmed some of the human pups for its documentary. One of them, Tom, won a covert Mr. Puppy UK title as Spot. I don't know. You know what I just personally think what it is people are just so freaking bored. Now, I thought I was bored with the stuff I do, but it's not that, I'm trying to even think of the right word, that perverse. So another one I put up was from the Dream and Deem was, oh, wait, make sure this doesn't, okay. Woman killed husband's puppy to fake a miscarriage. So that's pretty interesting. Lawrence County, what's AL? I can't remember where AL is. It's really not that important. Which state is that? I'm looking it up now. Oh, Alabama. So maybe that figures in, huh? If it's in Alabama. Okay. The details in this article couldn't get more Alabama if you tried. A woman is jailed after she killed her husband's puppy so she could fake a miscarriage. Police say the 43-year-old Anita Parker had been faking a pregnancy for the last 7 months, going as far as pretending to go to the doctor's appointments and sending her husband ultrasounds of the baby's progress. I guess she pushed her belly out all the time because she looked like she was pregnant, said Johnny Parker. That's pretty weird. I think there's such a thing that women can convince themselves that they're pregnant and they actually go through like that whole thing of like actually looking like they're pregnant. I don't know. I thought I heard about something like that. But the woman, it's some type of I'll have to look it up, see if I'm correct. Parker knew that her ruse was going to need an end game, so she decided she would simply fake a miscarriage. When her husband came home on Wednesday, he found his wife on the bed covered in blood along with some kind of body tissue. That's pretty weird. I'm going to have to see what that's called for convinced themselves. I'm sorry about that. Convinced themselves who. Because I thought there is such a thing like that, some cells. Are pregnant. I could be wrong. Phantom pregnancy is not a myth. Find out more. False pregnancies or Wikipedia. False pregnancies, phantom pregnancies, or hysterical pregnancy, officially called pseudocycles in humans and pseudo-pregnancy in mammals, is the appearance of clinical clinical or subclinical signs and symptoms associated with pregnancy when the organism is actually not pregnant. Clinically false pregnancy is most common in veterinary medicine, particularly in dogs and mice. False pregnancies in humans is less common and may sometimes be purely psychological. So there is a thing called phantom pregnancies. So I think that's because they said that this woman who killed a puppy, and just pretend it was a miscarriage, she probably had one of these phantom pregnancies because it looked like apparently they said it looked like she was pregnant. Anyway, it's getting really late for me, so I'm just going to kind of glance through the titles of the next couple stories. One was actually I found, it says it's a picture of what looks like, it does look like a roller coaster, but it's an actual high bridge or road. And let me see what it is. It says this is not a roller coaster. It is a terrifying bridge in Japan. Is it Okamaya or something like that? Oshimaya Bridge, which connects the cities of... Oh, I'm not going to pretend I know how to say these two places. Is about a mile long in... It is the third largest rigid-framed bridge in the world. It literally just goes straight up the bridge and then across. I don't know why they would make a bridge like that. It's kind of unique looking. I'm trying to think where you could go to read this article. I'm going to open up and figure it out. Yeah, it says its height is steep, inclined, and enough to make most confident drivers fearful for driving over it because you got to go straight up, literally, before. Actually, doesn't look too bad on this one, but it is pretty a weird. It's a pretty it's like riding a roller coaster almost the way it looks. Where did I see this? It's called A Sunny Sky. You can find this article. And just look for an article that's from May 20th, actually. But it says it's not a roller coaster. It's a terrifying bridge in Japan, exclamation point. So it is pretty scary looking because it is straight up. Not even kidding. And people do take that. It would be good for exercise if you wanted to take that on your bike, if you could. You can't really, probably. Anyway, I had another story for Christopher Morbid Lee. Mother punched child in face because he got wrong toppings on her. The child had gotten wrong toppings on her Taco Bell burrito. This is no joke. Yeah, again, the mother punched child in face because he got wrong toppings on her taco burrito. That was on the Dreamin' Demon. That was actually May 23rd, though, so that was just yesterday. There is actually a video involved with that if you go to the Dreamin' Demon for that story. She was arrested, and witnesses saw her punching one of her children in the face because he ordered the wrong topping for her taco burrito. This woman looks pretty scary looking, by the way. She looks fearfully. I don't even know how she got pregnant because if you look at her, I don't know, you have to be pretty desperate to impregnate this lady. Maybe she raped these guys or whoever it was. Hey, on maybe two end notes. this was pretty cool because I remember growing up when I was a kid, like a little kid. My mom used to like this entertainer known as, well, there's two backup singers, Tony Orlando and Dawn. Well, he's actually playing in Bethlehem. Tony Orlando and Dawn. I forgot to mention it to my mother. I don't know exactly what he would look like now, but excuse me, folks. It is pretty interesting. Yeah, he's playing at Sands in Bethlehem on Thursday, August 11th. So you can buy tickets, I believe, now for Tony Orlando and Dawn. My mom used to listen to him. I think Freddie Fender was another one she would listen to. So it was kind of cool to see that. Again, I got to remind myself to tell my mother. Not that she'd probably go. So that was pretty cool. And then I put up all these articles because I totally forgot about this, folks. So I read a couple different articles on it. They were going to put out Reebok Alien Stompers. I thought it was just a joke, so I didn't take it that seriously. But they made the actual Alien Reebok Stompers from the film, James Cameron's film Aliens. Now, here, get this, though. They sold out in 40 minutes or 45 minutes. So they made the ones that were released. They re-released those again for the 30th anniversary. Let's see. I forget what it was. I think it was either this month or sometime late. It was April 26th. They call April 26th now Alien Day because it was the 30th anniversary for the original Alien movie, not James Cameron one, but the sneakers made a big fuss out of the movie, though. So, out of the sneakers from the movie. It was a whole marketing scheme from Reebok. So, anyway, there was these Alien Stompers that Sigourney Weaver wore that were, like, really kind of wild looking. They never released those, but they were, like, high-top Reebok sneakers that, you know, they're supposed to look futuristic. They never released those. They released a regular version. I forget which sneaker it was made from. It was like the basketball sneaker, one of the basketball sneakers. So they designed it from the ones they released from the basketball sneaker, and they made them low tops, not high tops. So it was like, yeah, but these were cool. I bought them more than once. I bought every style, actually, that was released. The only ones I did not buy were these so far. So they only made, I think they said, okay, they only made for the entire globe, you know, Reebok only made for the whole world 426 pairs of shoes. No more than that. It stopped, or wait, let me I thought it was 426. Actually, it says 1,986 pairs of the retro mid-cut form Alien Stompers were made. Okay, and 426 of the limited edition pair, which would be the exact replicas from the movie. So there was less than 2,000 made of, and they're not worth as much, of the ones that were originally released. They actually changed the design a little bit, which I didn't like it. Because I actually had the original pair, and when I first bought the original pair, they were $50, and I thought that was a lot of money. But some girl laughed at me for wearing them. She said, "Oh, looks like you're wearing orthopedic shoes for old people that can't walk." So I returned them. It was like, I regret doing it. So when I could find them, when they re-released them a couple years ago, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely getting a pair of those. And I did actually wear them. They were a little bit more snug than the original ones I have because they're not cut the same, which I didn't like that. So anyway, once again, it says right here, I'm reading an article. I put them up like a couple different articles. It was released on April 26th. People were pissed off because they went to Reebok's website to buy one of the two different ones that were released. Well, get this. It's their website. I guess they must have got bombarded with so many people trying to order these shoes that people can get their orders in at all. So, but the shoes all sold, and they're being sold on eBay for a large amount more. So anyway, I mean, and it's impossible to get a pair. I mean, they were released 40 minutes later. They were sold out. Again, it says the Alien Stomper High will be available for $174 at Reebok.com, but they don't make them anymore. But there was of the mid-size, 1,986 pairs made of the mid ones. And then only 426 of the limited edition from the movie, which the ones that they released were actually like a grayish color originally, because that's the ones I have. They're like a dark gray, or like a light gray, actually. And with like different red in there and some other stuff. The new ones they just released, which were the same colors they made out from the movies, were actually white with charcoal gray, gray, and red. And the tongues were actually like some futuristic red type looking thing. You know, not like your ordinary tongue in your shoes. So the mid-size ones were made white. The high tops look identical to the ones that Sigourney Weaver originally wore, but they're high tops of the same shoe. And again, they only made 426 pairs of those. So I should have read this. I told somebody today that the other ones you couldn't buy, but you could buy both. So in all, there was like less than 2,500 pairs of shoes. So you know how quickly that's going to sell out when that's all they made in its entire run. It sold out in about 45 minutes, I read somewhere. So again, people were really pissed off about that fact. I don't know if I put that one up. I'm trying to see if I did. If not, you know, because I just told you, I guess, so to speak. No, neither one of the articles I have. So I won't say how much I paid, but I did pay a hefty fee to get the ones I've always were wishing were released. I finally bought those, and I'm not going to say that I was disappointed, but it was, again, more money than I probably should have spent, but I just, had this little bit of extra money that I figured that, hey, it's not something I would normally buy. It's something I've actually wanted for the past, well, it was 30 years ago. Yeah, so it was like 30 years ago I wanted those shoes back then. And the only ones I could get were the ones Reebok released, which now they released the original authentic ones from the film, which they never did before, for the 30th anniversary. So that was really cool. Anyway, folks, it is going on 5 o'clock, so thank you very much if you are listening to me. And as always, I do appreciate that. And if you enjoy what I'm talking about, definitely let other people know. Try to get other listeners. I think I did get some more listeners of some sort. I've definitely added on a bunch of countries, by the way, which I'd never had before. Let me check that out. Because it goes up and back again. I'm not going to say up and down, because then people say, oh, you're talking about sex in some way. Actually, yesterday I did pretty impressive. I got 23 listeners, and they weren't all me for once, which was really nice. Let's see. I got United States, Sweden, France, Mexico, Poland, Croatia, Vietnam, and the UK. A couple of them are just, I just stumbled upon this. What the fuck is this? Anyway, in our country, I got Coatesville, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, PA, Woodbridge, New Jersey. Actually, a pretty large amount of people. Woodbridge actually is up at 10 shares, so that's pretty good. Mountain View, California, Telford, PA, Glen Olden, PA, New York, New York, Muncie, PA, that's my friend Todd. Thank you, Todd, for listening. Blairstown, New Jersey is still on there. People are still listening to me. And Lansdowne, PA, that's really cool, too. So I'm getting some people that didn't stop listening and are actually listening for me to do more shows, which, hey, I appreciate. The one I did actually on Living Drunk Girl got 21 hits, which actually for me is not too bad. Of course, it's probably me listening to it a few times, but not that many times. There was a show I did the day before that actually got 23 listeners. And then the one I did on Ann Coulter did take a little bit of a boost, which got 47 people listening to that show. And I don't think they were all... Well, I did listen to it quite a few times, I'll have to say that, but not 47 times. So I'm not that bad. So anyway, folks, thanks again. I just screwed with my mic. Again, thank you. And thank you for getting other people listening if you have done so. And this is Walter from iWalter. And yes, since it is 5 o'clock in the morning, I will be signing off. So, show did go over my normal time. You know, I was going to expect a half hour show. I got almost an hour and a half now. So thanks again. This is Walter from iWalter. And I am going to be signing off for now.